Dolly. That's it, isn't it? That's like the last 24 hours. Actually, I just read Tim Curry died 80. Hey, 80. Um anyway, I yesterday I went on Instagram and I told a couple of Dolly stories. One was super personal and then one was just about a time that I met her, and then I've seen so many. It's just been full of stories. Everywhere you go, everyone's got something close to their heart to say about Dolly. And I think that I was trying to figure out. I woke up this morning and I'd totally forgotten yesterday when I was immersed in all things Dollywood, like planning a trip to Dollywood, you name it, that my first and only, make it sound like I had a lot, the only TV show I had that ran for a year, that made it from pilot to series. I I accomplished that really early on in my career, like too early, because I didn't know what I was doing by the time I did it. And I was a year and a half in Hollywood, and I was kind of a young hot flavor, for that period of time. And I got a call one day. My agent said, "You're going to get a call from Fox. They want to pitch you something," and set a meeting. So I got a call from a woman named Lila McCarthy. Went on, became a friend, and she was running Fox, a division of Fox. Fox was like in its really nascent stage. I mean, we're talking super nascent. And Dolly had a big production company, which people probably now know about. It's been talked about, called Sand Dollar, that she ran with her manager Sandy Gallen. Sand Dollar, get it? Sandy, Dolly, dollars. And that production company was run by Carol Baum and Howard Roseman, two people in Hollywood who I grew very fond of. And they would call me in all the time on projects. So this was a project of theirs. It was a TV show. And they didn't even pitch it to me themselves. They just said they're going to have the studio pitch it to me. And so Lila was from the studio. She called me up and she said, "I just have one thing to say to you. We're not making any other calls right now. You're our first choice." Oh, those were the days. And three fat sisters. Not just fat, obese. The show's called Babes. We want you to write it. There's a script. We're ripping it up. We're starting from scratch. I said, "I'm in." I didn't need to hear one more thing. I just needed to hear three fat sisters. Now, I had always suffered with my weight up until a couple years ago. And you could see Dolly in her youth was a round girl. Someone said to me before she got the ribs taken out, whatever. I mean, but Dolly clearly knew what it felt like to be a little bit on the round side. I mean, neither one of us was so fat. Like, people would look at it, so obviously. I mean, she was very attractive. But I'm not comparing myself to Dolly. But I think we both knew what it was like to be other, to be like not on the side of thin. And I thought this was a really important thing to bring. This was way before body awareness, and you couldn't say the word fat, and you couldn't, I mean, and none of the jokes in that show would ever stand today. But it was a really great idea. And I worked with her company. I worked with her on a bunch of stuff, but that show really was revolutionary, and it took Dolly. It honestly took Dolly to be able to pull that off. I think nobody else could have done that, and I don't think anybody else maybe at that time would have had the courage even. I don't know who brought it to her or how that happened, but it was just it was it was these three obese women. And it got on the air. It was on after The Simpsons. It's a show that came and went, unfortunately, because of a not so nice guy who took it over. And it became sort of male and mean. And but we won't go down that road. But it was it was a really wonderful experience. And every time I ever worked with Sand Dollar or I went into Sand Dollar, it was they were they were a great group. And like all things, they're not there now, but they always did. This is the other thing. If you were a comedy writer, a female comedy writer, of a certain caliber in those days, they would always come to you. How many people would see this and actually have had that experience? I would be curious. And they always wanted to do a remake of 9 to 5. Every year, you could be sure that you'd get a call from Sand Dollar. We want to remake 9 to 5. How can we remake 9 to 5? How can we do a sequel? Not a remake, because you couldn't remake it. It was, you couldn't even, it just was, it was one of those films that just should, it was what it was, but it was perfect. What's the sequel? There was no sequel. It was perfect. You didn't need a sequel. That was like Dolly being very advanced too. Women in the workplace being abused. Fat women, what was their place? They would still be attractive. They could still, you know, she just touched so many areas of so many things in so many wonderful ways. And I have a special song of hers that means a lot to me. And I was actually listening to it when she died yesterday, which made it really weird. So that made me cry a lot. And somebody on Facebook said they wanted to give me a box of Kleenex. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. And I miss you, Dolly. You gave the world a lot. And Prince Charles, Buckingham Palace, Empire State Building turned pink. Honey, you touched the world in a big way. I wish you peace forever. Thank you.